Imposter syndrome. How do you
It's
deal with it?
real.
I'm Karin Beery with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Peg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes,
We're
starting
going to
now.
start, yes. And today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. And this is another thing I love social media because you guys fuel our topics. So thank you. Um, but a lot of people have been talking about imposter syndrome, and
It's
it's real.
real. It is
And
very real.
every week, Peg tells you that she's a multi award winning author. Well, I'm very excited because I also can now say that.
Yes,
Um,
she can.
I can. But it doesn't stop you from second guessing yourself, especially when you're on social media. And Peg and I, both multi award winning authors, um, both have helped other authors by editing their books so that they win awards. And people will argue and yell and tell you don't know what you're talking about. I actually had someone tell me that they were scared for authors because of the terrible advice that I give them. And I had to pull back because I started to question, and am I giving bad advice? Am I really leading authors astray? The imposter syndrome kicks in. So, Peg, how do you deal with it when it starts to niggle at you?
You know, where I tend to hit it, I don't get on social media as much as you do, and I avoid the ones that you love because I don't want to get into the fray. Um, so I don't really see it there. But where I see it, like last year, I released 3 books. All 3 books have, finaled or won awards this year, which is gratifying and amazing and humbling. And yet, I don't really. I mean, I say it here, multi-award winning author, because it sounds good in a promo, right? But I never really think that I'm doing anything different than every other author out there is doing. Um, I don't know. It's it's kind of like you see yourself in the bathroom mirror every morning, with no makeup and ratty hair, and you look at yourself and you think, yeah, that's just me. That's who to me. That's who I am. And then when you do go out and you're at an event where people know that you're an author or whatever, and they start asking you questions, and you should have sort of something real suave and enlightening to say, and you just stammer and stutter like an idiot and prove that you're really an imposter, I guess. I don't know. I still don't feel, I still feel that way. I still feel like an imposter a lot. I don't know that I deal with it. I just live with it. How
Well,
about you?
I have started to deal with it. Like I said, because I am a little more active on social media. First of all, I've started blocking people. I don't want to sound crass or rude, but I'm sorry if you have 0 books published or 2 books that are self-published and have 3 reviews. I'm just not going to value your opinion. I don't know who you are, and I know what I've studied. I know what I have written, and I'm going to let my readers and my reviews affirm me. But more than that, I just look back. It's kind of like for me in my Christian walk. Sometimes I get frustrated because I'm still struggling with things. And they're things that I've struggled with for a long time. But then I have to think back. I've been married going on 19 years now. And my husband and I have some ridiculous arguments. And it's frustrating. But then I think about the ridiculous arguments we used to have and how far we've come because we don't argue about that anymore. And maybe I still lose my temper, but I don't lose it nearly as often or as violently as I used to. And so then I pick up my first manuscript and read that. Holy cow, have I become a better writer? Am I perfect? No. Am I spectacular? Absolutely not. But as long as you're writing and reading and studying, it's pretty hard not to improve. And if you
Yeah, I
set
would
your
agree with that. I think you almost have to work to not improve.
exactly. And as long as you're improving, you're a and writing, you're a writer. Now, if you set yourself a standard that says, I want to, sell as many books as Karen Kingsbury by next year, well, yeah, you're probably going to have a little bit of imposter syndrome because
We
how
would
long
all
is
love
she
to
going to?
do that.
Exactly. Um, but it's just a little bit of self evaluation. What are your goals?
Yeah.
How
And
are
I
you
think
working to
honestly,
achieve them?
I think if you and I or anybody were walking around saying, "Yeah, we're really great stuff. We've done all this and this is wonderful," that's a problem too.
Hmm.
Maybe the imposter syndrome keeps us humble. I don't know. It keeps me off of the social media you're on, so I don't have to deal with it.
So
But in the
I hope that was encouraging for you. My little timer went off, so our five
Okay,
minutes are up.
let me finish with this. I heard this
Okay.
last week, okay? Never accept the advice from someone you wouldn't ask their opinion of. So if someone's calling you names and saying you can't do what you think you could do, if it's a person you wouldn't have asked their opinion anyway, don't accept the advice. Move on.
So we'll leave you with that, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, I'm Karen Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas. Bye.
Bye.